definitely a morning brew. Hey, what's going on, everyone? It is Jay Stokes of the AVIOT podcast, joined by Jay Random. We are here with today's AVIOT Sunday Brew. We missed y'all last week. The previous week, I spoke about the Kendrick Lamar album while Jay Random was out on vacation, holiday break. And now we're back with y'all. So we hope to have a very spirited discussion today and
Yes.
hope that it leads to something good in the long run. So how you doing today, Jay?
Doing all right, man. It's Sunday morning. Glad to be alive. It's sunny outside in North Carolina, so that's good. It's cold though. It's cold.
Yeah,
Excuse me.
that's this weather. That's
Yeah,
this global warming that everyone, well, certain people say doesn't exist.
so it's crazy because it's supposed to be like 60 degrees today here. So 65 to be exact.
Uh-huh.
But the crazy part is that it's always like 23 in the morning and then goes to 65, 70, then drop back down to 23. It's like I feel like we're in Arizona. That's the only place I remember. Sorry, I got a cold too.
Now
That's the
you
only place
good,
I
you good.
remember ever hearing it being hot in the daytime and cold at night.
Yeah, that's
So
that dry heat, no
yeah,
humidity.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah,
So
so
what's good with you?
listen, man, I've been calling your phone, calling you and the other family members, been
Yeah,
very irritated. I will say just from the public response to
yeah.
Andrew Schulz,
hmm
his comments towards Kendrick Lamar and that lyric that he had on Whacked Out Murals, don't let no white comedian talk about no black woman, that's law.
Yeah,
It's not necessarily that he himself angers me. It's more of I wish that black people together would galvanize and really stand for something as opposed to a lot of the mainstream media heads that you're seeing out there not having a spine. And
yeah.
so what I mean by that is this. So he took to his podcast. I'm not even gonna name his podcast. I know it's famous. I mean, not famous, but very popular. Andrew Schulz's podcast. And he responded to Kendrick's lyric because he felt it was about him, even though Kendrick didn't name him. And
hmm
he also was specifically talking about black folk who allow these white comedians to make jokes about black women that are detrimental or not cool. But Andrew Schulz is a hit dog, so he hollered.
hmm
And he made it a point to say, well, hip hop artists, they disrespect women all the time. They disrespect black women all the time. And then from there, he went to making fun of Kendrick Lamar's vernacular, his AAVE, talking about don't let no white comedian talk about no black woman. That's law. That's how we talk. That doesn't make it incorrect. In fact, AAVE, you have some professors out there, some scholars that say that AAVE, African American vernacular, is actually very intelligent. It's actually a form of language that connects more to British English that's supposed to be top notch than actual American language. But
I
that's
never
an
heard of
aside.
that. Oh, that's something new.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's an aside. Yeah, I'll break that down in the future. And then on top of that, he goes on to say that he wants to forcefully violate Kendrick, make
hmm
love to him against his will. It
Hey, Josh.
not how you doing? No, it's Jonah, not Josh.
Jonah. Oh, I'm saying. No, my glasses on.
No,
Sorry.
you good, you good. I don't have them either. That's why I'm looking close.
Oh, you
Sorry.
better than me. I really can't see. I put
Yeah.
these things on.
But yeah, so those 3 points. He made fun of, hey, bruh.
What's going on, bro?
So he made fun of,
Uh-huh.
first he tried to say that it was hypocritical for Kendrick to be calling out white comedians that make fun of black women because hip hop people in hip hop make fun of black women all the time. That's number one. Number two, he made fun of his African American vernacular. And number three, he said he wants to forcefully violate Kendrick. And thanks for subbing, Jess Rafe. And so basically, I want to talk about the first point. That first point where he was talking about other hip hop artists making fun of black women. So he should pretty much, it's hypocritical. He's saying it's hypocritical because other black artists make fun of black women. And he specifically quoted the line by Snoop Dogg on Doggy Style, female dogs ain't ish but gardening tools and tricks, right?
hmm
I saw a video by Deleted, who's another YouTuber, and he had pushed back against this, saying that, well, who said that in that song, Female Dogs Ain't Ish, that Snoop Dogg was talking about black women? Because historically, in hip hop music videos,
hmm
there's been a problem with black women being shown on there. Instead, that they've said rappers like to show Latina women's or racially ambiguous women.
Hmm.
So that's Andrew Schultz's mind thinking that that line was directed towards black women, but who's to say that was directed towards black women? I just want
Hmm.
to get your thoughts on that before we get more into things.
Um. So I mean, I guess I understand what that guy was saying when he's like, "How do we know Snoop was talking about black women?" I just think sometimes we just dig too deep in a rabbit hole. I mean,
Hmm.
and this is the problem with this whole Kendrick and Andrew Schultz thing. So Kendrick said he said no one name. Andrew took it upon himself to feel like he was talking about him. So Andrew should have just kept it between Kendrick and him and kept it respectful, right? But he didn't. He tried to bring up hip hop. That's like what ifs,
What
what
about
if,
black on black crime?
yeah, exactly. Well,
Yeah,
so it's kind of like, no, let's stay focused on the topic at hand. That's what they make you do in school, right? You can't write an essay about the stars when you in science talking about water. And like what is
right.
you know what I'm saying? It's like you gotta stick to the point. So with Andrew, I think he messed up because he doubled down on not even what he said. He just went at Kendrick and then he so
He's hurt.
you
His
know, he's
ego is
hurt.
bruised.
But
His ego is
how he
bruised.
went at Kendrick wasn't cool, by saying that he was going to essay him. It's never cool. It's never cool to say you're going to do that to anyone. Definitely, if you take it back to slavery times to a black person, that's because back in the days, that's what they used to do to the slaves. It's called buck breaking. So I think that Andrew Schultz is an immature, non-funny comedian. I don't want to call him a comedian because I never knew he
I
was a
don't think he's a
comedian.
comedian.
I
I don't
thought he
think
was
he
just
is.
a radio personality guy. So, I mean, he said what he said, but he has to understand he can't now turn back and be like, but these people are now bothering my family. Listen, I mean, you you're never gonna hear Kendrick ever come at you, but of course it's fans. Look at Drake fans. Let's just throw Drake in here. Let's throw the Barbs in here. Fans are gonna think they're protecting their artists by saying stuff. But if the artist never said it, then you can't. It's not Kendrick. It's just not Kendrick's fault that you said something, and Kendrick's too busy to respond to your immaturity, right? Because he's
Hmm.
immature.
Hmm.
And I just feel like for the celebrities that are just co-signing what Andrew Schultz did, they're the problem because it's not even Andrew Schultz anymore. They're the problem. The ones that saying, "Nah, he's cool." Nah, he's not cool because we said that to you, he wouldn't be cool.
Yeah. Can I interject?
Yes.
So speaking of celebrities, like I said, I was frustrated when I was saying I was frustrated earlier. It was more towards the other media heads, specifically black media heads, that are seemingly co signing what Andrew Schulz is saying or
Hmm.
not saying anything positive at all. Number one, let's start from the top. Charlemagne. Charlemagne, I would argue, is the reason why Andrew Schulz is famous now.
Hmm.
Charlemagne gave this man a platform, and he was on Brilliant Idiots, looking like an idiot. Sorry, gotta say that. Gotta voice my frustration there. Maybe I could use a better word, but looking like an idiot on there, pretty much allowing Andrew Schulz to just talk and kind of defend himself.
Hmm.
And I feel like Charlemagne should publicly call him out. You married to a black woman, you have black daughters, and you're supposedly supporting Kamala Harris during her campaign. I would think that you would have more guts to stand up to or call out somebody who's speaking down on black women, number one, and also speaking down on a black man who is saying, hey, other dudes, we need to protect our black women and make sure that they're not joked about in a derogatory manner, right? I would think Charlemagne
Hmm.
would do that, but obviously we see that he's compromised. So that's something he won't do. I won't get more critical on him than that. It's very unfortunate, but I'm not surprised, right? Because he's the one that brought Andrew Schultz to the forefront. Number
Hmm.
two, Van Lathan. I was listening to him and Rachel Lindsay on their podcast, Higher Learning. Van Lathan was very protective of his friend Alex Media, who was on the couch when Andrew Schultz was making these comments about Kendrick. And Alex didn't do anything but laugh. And so that's supposed to be Van Lathan's man. And so Rachel wanted to hold Alex to task or invite him on the show so that they could speak about why didn't you say anything when Schultz was talking about violating Kendrick Lamar,
Yeah.
right? And so Van was very protective of him. And I think that even if someone is your friend, you should say, you should have the guts to say, I don't agree with that. I don't agree with how he handled that situation. Like you and I, right?
Yeah.
We are very close. We tight. However, if you do something on a public platform that I don't agree with, and it comes to my attention, I just say I don't agree with it. That doesn't mean I have to trash you. That just
Exactly.
means I say I don't agree with that behavior. Van didn't even say he didn't agree with it. He was very protective of Alex, and then he goes on to say that we need black people that white media will respect in order to call out the nonsense that white media attaches to black people, saying that we need
Who
people
said
like
that?
Van Lathan pretty much said that
Isn't he that one? Isn't he that black person that we need? He
no,
has a platform.
no, but he said that white media, like Andrew Schulz,
Hmm.
will criticize black people if they have a checkered past. So Andrew was trying to criticize Kendrick because he has ties to black men in hip hop who have allegedly assaulted or done horrible things to black women.
Hmm.
So Kendrick can't be a voice, even though Kendrick himself has, throughout his career, supported black women on record and in person. You can
Hmm.
see it from his music videos to how he supports his community, Compton, LA, that whole West Coast area. He supports, like he's shown that he supported it.
Yeah.
Hood particles. Black faces in high places won't solve any American's economic situation. I agree. I agree. I totally agree with you.
That was a good
I
one. Good one.
Hood particles. Yes, that is totally true. That is totally true. So basically, what Van Lathan was saying, since you have flawed black individuals trying to stand up for black people, and white media instead points out their flaws, we need to have black individuals who are not flawed to speak to white media. That way, they won't have a comeback. And he was pointing out people like Indy Ree, Jason Wilson, Deion Sanders, and Viola Davis. And my response to that is, why do you care what they think? It
Yeah.
doesn't matter what they
Yeah,
think.
because they
If
could
you're
find
calling,
something on them if they
yeah,
want
if
to.
if you if you're calling out something wrong, it's wrong.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be a whataboutism. If it's wrong, it's wrong. So I know I talked a lot. Just give you a chance to speak.
No, I like that. Yes, and yes, you corrected me. It's what aboutism, not what if. What about? Yes. Um. Yeah, I just feel like at the end of the day, right? I guess we always say, sometimes, that saying said wrong, right message, wrong messenger. But in this
Correct.
case, it's not that case with Kendrick, right? First of all, Kendrick never mentioned his name. I guess we all got to focus on that part alone. He never mentioned his name. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, last time I checked, I didn't even know Andrew Schulz was a white comedian. So there's more white comedians than Andrew Schulz.
Right.
But I guess Andrew Schultz must have felt some type of way in the heat that he never received for how he was talking bad about black women when he had those two black guys on the couch, shits and giggles, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm not sure if he ever really got heat for that. So I guess that's probably why he took it upon himself to say something. But listen, Andrew Schultz is clout chasing. Okay,
He is.
he's clout chasing, and he realized, you be careful on who you talk about, who you talk junk to, because it's never really that person that's going to say something. It could be a crash out dummy. We talked about that on our show before. These crash out dummies are the worst, man. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
they're the ones you worry about because those are the ones that won't even tell the artist they're doing something to do it and be like, I ain't do it. Or they probably like, yeah, I did it. Okay. But it wasn't him. You know what I'm saying?
I
So it's kind of like, and I'm not, and by all means, I'm not promoting violence. I know you're not either
Oh, definitely not. Definitely not. No.
because it's not that serious. But Andrew Schultz has to understand. He has to stay in his own space. That's just it, man. Listen, you could be a comedian. You don't have to talk down on someone that you don't even find attractive. So it's kind of like, let's let it be. You
Well, I want to
know.
even add on to that. So you're talking about him not pushing the line and stuff like that. One thing I found interesting was
Hmm.
another black individual, DJ Head, who's on Hip Hop DX with Elliot Wilson and Jeremy Hecht. He was saying that he thinks that Andrew Schultz is hyper intelligent, right? I took notes on what he said on Hip Hop DX regarding this Kendrick Lamar Andrew Schultz situation. He said nobody's above jokes. If the joke doesn't land, you don't get credit. He said he respects Schultz because he stands on what he says, and he said that he's not a fan of people who want empathy for what they lost based on what they said. So basically, if there's blowback, he doesn't want shows wanting people to feel sorry for him because of the blowback. And then he says that shows is he never heard Schulz's jokes about black women, but he said he's cool with Schulz. So my thing is, you're cool with him, but you never heard the joke that Schulz said about black women, and you think he's hyper intelligent, though he's missing the mark when it comes to speaking about the hypocritical rappers, and also when Ice Cube's son calls him out, O'Shea Jackson Jr. Schulz points to No Vaseline, trying to say that, well, you're hypocritical because your father made No Vaseline. I'm like, obviously this man isn't that intelligent, because if you know what No Vaseline is about,
Hmm.
you know it's saying that NWA, the other members, were getting abused by the rap
Record
industry.
company, yeah.
Yes, the white record execs in the hip hop industry. So why are you pointing that out, trying to have a gotcha moment? And I'm looking at DJ Head sideways, 'cause I'm like, dude, you talking about culture. How you cool with Andrew Schulz, who's a culture vulture? If you're talking always about protecting the culture and you trying to prop up your chest like that, I'm very disappointed in you as well.
Well, hey, listen, like I said again, Andrew Schultz is no longer the problem. Is the people that surround him that ignore his immature ways. So I mean, we'll see what happens, right? Because hopefully Andrew Schultz now he understands that, you know, watch what you say. It's not that, you're not funny. Your jokes are not hitting. We don't see it as jokes. So just move on. Move on, Andrew. Just move on. Just, hopefully this will be the last time he says something. And hopefully we don't have nothing new next week, because then it's like, okay, now I'm starting to think that Andrew Schultz must have a comedy show coming out,
I
and
think he
he's not.
does on
I think he
Netflix.
does too.
Yeah, I think he
And
does.
and I mean, he's not funny, so whatever.
No, because it wasn't jokes. Like my thing is, you trying to poke at Kendrick and saying that you're going to violate him, you're going to force him against his will.
SA
That's
is
not.
not. SA
That's
is
not.
never a joke,
I won't even
male or
call that
female.
SA, man. I won't even call it SA. That's the R word. That's the R word. I don't like, because I feel like SA is handling it with
Well,
kid
I don't know what we
gloves.
could say on our show or not. That's what I'm saying.
Now that's
Okay,
the
so you're
R
right. The
word.
R word. There you go. The R
That
word.
rhymes with grape. Yeah.
Yeah, grape is never funny. Grape is never
No.
funny at all. Never, ever, ever.
Can't
So
make
you're
jokes
right.
about that.
Yeah. So it's not funny. It's not
That's
funny.
that's why I never thought Cat Williams, his live special on Netflix, was funny when he was making jokes about the white slave masters violating the black enslaved women. He made jokes about that, saying like, "Oh, these black women, they just look so good and all that." I'm like,
Mhm.
that's not funny. Yeah, that
No.
wasn't funny at all.
But listen. So let's get some understood to our listeners. All right. I don't want y'all to think it's a black thing, a white thing. We're talking about a black situation. All right. So I don't want to comment, and I don't want to see any comments at the bottom either about that. It's we're talking about a Kendrick Lamar and Andrew Schultz thing, but in all, grape is not cool to
No,
joke about at all.
never, never.
It's never cool, and Andrew Schultz, he's immature. He's immature, man. And the sad part is, if Andrew Schultz keeps talking, I'm guarantee you something's gonna come out. And I actually saw something. I heard one of his ex girlfriends came out and was saying that this guy's sick. So Andrew Schultz just need to just
Oh yeah,
change the
Sarah
chapter,
Phillips.
change the
Sarah
chapter
Phillips.
in that joke book, and talk about something else, because you don't want your past to come out, man.
Hey, listen, I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say it.
What's up?
So his ex girlfriend Sarah Phillips has alleged. Well, this was back in 2020, but people have these I guess these posts have resurfaced
Yeah,
in which he said that Andrew Schultz. She said that re- alleged. This is all alleged. Sarah Phillips had said Andrew Schultz was abusive towards her. He used her toothbrush to clean his shoes and then tell her. So she got sick off of using her toothbrush because he used it to clean his shoes.
immature.
He made he made he was controlling when it came to her makeup and her outfit choices, and he was verbally abusive towards her. At one point, having her so scared that she hid in a closet and locked the door, or she hid in another room and locked the door.
Hmm.
So
That's what I'm saying. So I mean, like, dude, listen. This ain't what you want. This ain't what
That's
you want, man. Because people listen. The internet trolls, man. They will find stuff on you, man. So just fall back, change that chapter, move on to the next, man. It's not even that serious. The man never called your name out, so you must feel guilty because he never said your name.
yeah. Speaking of chapter, and we'll flip to this. 'Cause I know you're on a time crunch. I want to speak to another, I guess, relationship situation between Tyrod Taylor and Draya Michele. Do you know about Tyrod Taylor, football player, and Draya Michele?
I know Draya Michele. Draya Michele. She got pregnant by a basketball player recently
Yeah,
from the
by
Rockets.
yeah, he's the
Jalen.
Rocket Green. Not Green. I
Nah,
forgot
it's
his first name.
Jalen. I know his first name is Jalen. I don't know his last name.
Yeah, I can't. I'm using my phone to record it, so for
Yeah,
some reason the name escaped me. Comments, help us out here. It might be Jalen Green.
I think it
It
is
might.
Jalen Green. I think you're right.
Yeah, but
But anyway, so what happened?
so Tyrod Taylor, I don't know if football or baseball. I know he's a professional athlete. So
I
basically,
think I think he used to be a football player. The guy that you're
okay,
talking about now.
Tyrod Taylor. Yeah. So they used to date like
Oh, Tyrod Taylor is a football player. He plays. He's I think he's the backup for the Jets right now.
okay, okay, there we go. So basically, they used to date, and it was right before she got with Jalen Green, and so he had bought her a house, and the agreement was alleged or reported agreement was that she was going to pay rent and eventually pay it off. But since they broke up, he sent her eviction notice, and there's a legal battle over that right now. And she's saying that she never received anything in the mail. He's like, yeah, he mailed it to her, so it was up to her to check the mail. So it's a lot of he say, she say, and they're in a battle regarding that. What are your thoughts about him reportedly evicting her now that they've broken up?
Man, listen. You know what? That's the problem, right? I mean, unless it was like a legal agreement that even if we break up, this is still my house, then I don't think she really has legs to stand on. Listen, I hear entertainers taking back cars when they break up,
Right,
taking back watches when they break up. So you don't think a house is worth taking away?
right.
I mean, especially since now she got pregnant by someone else? Like, wait a minute. You're not my girl and you have another baby. Go ask him for money because Jalen Green just signed a $178 million contract. So
Exactly.
I'm pretty sure he can, listen, when we were together, you were good, right? We took care of each other. What she should have done instead of trying to finesse the game is put it in writing and make it stick. You know what I'm saying? Make it stick that when, just in case we should break up. But once you say that, people looking at you sideways like, why are you with me for the money? Hey, listen, take for what it is. That's what prenups happen, right? So at the
Hmm.
end of the day, I look at it like, hey, what should have happened was she should have had it in writing that if they break up, she can still keep the place. If it's
Hmm.
not in writing, then that's his house. That's a girlfriend. That's an ex girlfriend. Just I mean, the sad part is all he has to do is literally get the sheriff to come and serve her. But you could dodge the sheriff, but I don't know how much longer you can dodge it. So
Right,
I
right.
mean, but understand when you get back in the house to Rod Taylor, it might not have no walls. It might not have no walls, or it might have some stuff on that wall. So just be prepared because when you evict people, is some I only see so many people that get evicted that be leaving the house looking spotless. Like what? Nah. So how do I feel? I feel that she's not. I don't think she's legally obligated to that place unless she has the
Hmm.
money. Now listen, she has the 5 point whatever money he spent on that house, and she has it. Then I'm pretty sure he'll just probably add 20% interest to it and be like, all right, it's yours. If you want it, you can have it, but I'm not paying for it, and I'm not gonna let it fall in default either. So who's paying for this?
I see. I see. I
Because
see.
that's another
Yeah.
thing. Because it's like we don't know if he was like, "Yo, listen, all right, cool. You know what? You pregnant, whatever. You got a man. I'm pretty sure ask your man for some bread so you could just buy this house so we can." But she act like it sounds like she still wants him to pay it off. We ain't together no more. That
Right.
it's that contract is over.
Right. Right.
Tyrod
Speaking of
Taylor's a
being
backup quarterback now. He ain't the starting quarterback. You know
right.
what I'm saying? He gotta start cutting down his investments. I mean, I'm sorry, his portfolio, and make sure he living in the house he buying.
Right.
I mean, I don't know what the man make, but when you become I'm starting quarterback to now a backup quarterback, your money's looking funny.
That's true.
And I haven't seen him
So
really play. Excuse me, because if memory serves you correct, He plays for the Jets, and Aaron Rodgers thinking up the place right now, and they paying Aaron Rodgers like 30 million. So they definitely ain't gonna have a backup quarterback playing. When you got the quarterback that's stinking up,
Right.
getting 5 times more. So I think, easy said is done for us, right? To say that she got to go, but I mean, if the shoe was on the other foot, I'm pretty sure he would have to go.
Right. That's true. That's true. So I was gonna say, speaking of things being over, I know you said you had a hard cutoff. I
Yo,
wanted to
what's
get to
up?
the Sarah Haines thing, but do you think you got time or you
Sara
gotta go?
Haines. Why that sounds familiar? Bust it out. Let me see it.
The lady from the View. So I was saying, speaking of
Oh,
women
oh,
that,
oh.
yeah, speaking of
That thing I
women,
sent you?
yeah. I was gonna, speaking of women that are in some troubled waters, I
Yeah.
just wanted to speak to you about the clip you sent me on Sarah Haines. So she was on the View and she had made some comments. Maybe you could take it away. Take it away.
So, excuse me, guys. Excuse me. So, in the View before the election, she stated that, damn, my throat. Hold on.
I'll set it up. I'll set it up. So
Yeah,
basically, Sarah
thanks.
Haines had said before the election that she was voting for Kamala Harris. And she had made a big point of saying that she was supporting her. I think that it was more so to get the crowd on her side or to say something that was pleasing to the audience. However,
So after the election, she was talking about how President Donald Trump, he elected Vince McMahon's wife. I forgot her name. What's her name?
don't put me on the spot. I don't remember.
Okay. Yeah, yeah. Well, Vince McMahon's wife, she has been um she will be our new Department of Education czar. And in so many ways, when that happened, then you see the lady from the View saying, "Well, this is what I expected since I made the vote for the person I did." I'm like, "Wait a minute, what? It's not like you voted for Trump now.
Hmm.
It doesn't sound like you voted for Kamala." And and this has always been my thing, right? Back, behind the scenes conversations Jay Stokes and I have. And I always said, listen, forget about the partying that's going on, all this TV, all this we voting for, who we voting for Kamala. All that is just words. I like to see what happens when you actually go into the booth, right, and actually cast your vote. Let's see if everybody who said we are voting for Kamala, Republicans are voting for Kamala. Let's see what happens because obviously, it seems like whoever said they was voting, the numbers are saying different, and the problem is the numbers are saying different. It's not in the fact that we can. I mean, I don't remember exit polling being so evident than the past. Oh man, 12 years? Like prior to that, I don't think nobody really looked at the exit and poll. Well, I know I didn't because I'm pretty sure Republicans and Democrats did to see
Yeah.
who voted who. I mean, what race, what nationality voted for Democrat versus Republican. But
Right.
the numbers tell what the lady from the View slipped up and said. People said one thing and did something else. So you know, listen, man, I'm not surprised. I mean, listen, that's why January 20th we got who we didn't, well, who I didn't want as president.
Yeah.
But I did my part. You did your part. If whoever did their part and went out and vote, hey, listen, ain't nothing else you could do. You can't vote and tell everybody else to vote for who you want to vote for. They have to vote for who they want to vote for and stick with it. And let's see what these people that voted for Trump stick with it. Let's see if they really. Let's see how high they see how high they are on their vote after January 21st and on. You know, I'm
Yeah.
curious to see because, as far as I know, you and I we looked and the most two search words were what's the tariff and how can I change my vote. Like that
Right.
alone is kind of nerve wracking. The day after the vote, I mean, let me see, the day after the election, that's the two most search words.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
It is something.
but
We
yeah,
still got to
man,
do
listen.
something on this
So I'm
tariff
not
thing
surprised.
too,
Like I
by the
said
way.
again, that's why I said that to you because you and I we always talk, but it's funny when someone slips up and say it. And you're like, oh,
Yeah.
you can't fix that. You can't fix that.
Yeah, I
We heard
agree.
it. And the bad part is when I'm like you with scary movies. When I saw that, I didn't even care what the rest of the crew said. So what happened after that? Did anybody call her out on the view, or they just kept on talking?
I have to go and
Go back
watch
to it.
the
Okay.
full episode.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I was
Okay.
seeing because I was listening to it afterward. They let her speak, so let me
Because I'm
watch it
curious. I'm curious
further.
if somebody go, "Hey, wait, you said what?"
Right, right, right. So I'll watch it a bit further, but
Yeah.
no one seemed to say anything.
Yeah. It is
So
what it is, though, man. Listen, at the end of the day, you know, people, we got to move on, right? Because there's nothing else we could do. We did our part. Let's rock out for these 4 years. See what's gonna happen. That's what I look at it like. See what's
right,
gonna happen, man. I know. I just hope that um, we all who voted for whoever we voted for, good or bad, we can all survive these 4 years. Because I mean, he's not even in office yet, and he's already causing headaches and starting trouble. He's not even in office yet, and already starting tariff wars.
right. No,
Like
I definitely hear
that's the
you.
problem. Tariffs are bad.
We
Tariffs,
still have to do an episode that
yeah,
we have to do something that covers the tariff situation. We said we were gonna do it.
yeah,
We got to do something that covers that.
yeah. And tariffs are only bad because we all have tariffs, right? Tariff. So Biden has tariffs too, right? So we're not just saying Trump has is the tariff king, but we're
Hmm.
saying though is Trump is aggressive with his tariffs. His
Gotcha.
his tariffs is his bully tactic. That's not good. When your tariffs become your bully tactic to make other countries do what you want,
Hmm.
and you say, "Oh, you're not going to do what I want you to do. Well, I'm going to hit you with a tariff, and it's going to be this large." You don't want to do that because at the end of the day, the other country could say, "Okay, I'll do the same," because it's
Hmm.
not like he's coming in and doing that to small countries. He's doing it to powerful countries, almost
I
as
know.
powerful as us.
Yeah.
You know, I mean,
I
and
hear
what I
you.
mean by powerful, I mean in the trade war.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, we ain't talking
No,
about war
I
to war. We're talking about in the trade war. They
right.
have they have much to gain like we do if
Right.
they counter. So we'll
Yeah.
see.
We shall. That we shall. So speaking of we'll see. Listen, man. What's brewing for you this week coming up right here before we
Oh
close out?
man. So this week, man, nothing, man. Just really trying to just get better with this cold I had. I had it for a
Hmm.
while now, so just trying to get better. Had my wife make some more ginger tea this morning. Oh, she makes the best ginger tea. Can't wait. It's to my soul. I love ginger, man. Ginger, when you have all this up in here, it really helps. So ginger tea, that's what I'm trying to sip on. As far as what's brewing for me, focus really just really focus on what we got going on. So whatever we got going on, hit me up. That's what I'm really focused on this week. And yeah, that's about it. What you got, bro?
What's brewing for me is combating the noise. At first, I was of the mindset that when people say ignorant statements towards black individuals
Hmm.
or ignorant statements in general, you just ignore the problem. But I think that's part of the problem. I think what you do is you combat it with education and truth instead of, but you don't go at the person, you go at the ideology.
Yeah,
So like for example, if Andrew Schulz is making these incorrect statements, I think combating that with the truth is the better way to go about it.
yeah.
Because I saw some people in a comment section of a video that I posted on our platform. They were saying, just ignore him. You're giving him too much press. Focus more on Kendrick. I understand that. However, the ideologies that he's pushing, I think, are detrimental and they are potentially harmful. So that's my main goal.
No, I agree. And see, the sad part is that person had a point, but I think what you're doing is right as well, right? Because sometimes that's like our first reaction. Oh, he said something stupid, ignore him. But then guess what? You ever thought the person was gonna say something stupid again and say something else, and they started pushing the line to see how far they can go? So there comes a point when you can't ignore them anymore because they're gonna say something, and the first thing they're gonna remind you, oh, you ain't say none of the last 7 times I said something.
Exactly.
Somebody that
Exactly.
immature would definitely call you out on that. You could tell. Oh, you talking about me, O'Shea? What about your dad? What the hell's my dad got to do with what you said about Kendrick? Oh,
Exactly.
you talking
Yeah, I
about
got.
me? What the Snoop said? Like,
Yeah,
come
I'm gonna
on,
do a deep
man.
dive in all of that. I'm
Yes.
gonna do videos and all that. I got to talk about the no Vaseline thing. I got to talk about him quoting Snoop's lyric in his defense. I'm gonna talk about him. I got to talk about this DJ Head thing because that really disturbs me because I'm like, for someone who champions the culture so much, how do you? He said he f's with Schultz, so that means you cool with him. So my thing is, if you're championing the culture, how you cool with that guy? How are you cool with him? That seems to be two conflicting ideologies to me.
A lot of time when people say they champion the culture, I don't think they even understand what they mean.
Mm.
Because you're right. That's an oxymoron. How are you championing the culture, but you rocking with someone who's disrespecting someone that's on top of the culture right now? How can you do that?
Yeah, that's why I never will say I stand on the culture or anything like that. My thing is, I'm for black people. So anything
Hmm.
that is harming black people, I am against. And
Hmm.
that includes me. I look back at past comments I made on our podcast. I look at past comments all the time to see where I may have slipped up or
Hmm.
where I may have misspoke or how things could be misconstrued, and I will get on that. Right? Like I know there was a podcast episode I had made about a black woman whose life was taken by a white, I think a police officer or something like that. And I had made comments and I saw where I went wrong. So I went back and made another podcast episode where I corrected it.
Mm.
So that
Okay.
is my thing is that is what I stand on. If it is against black people, I'm not for it.
Hmm.
If it
I
is
hear you.
harming somebody who is in a marginalized group, I am not for it. So
I
even
hear
Dave
you.
Chappelle, right? He made jokes about the trans community. I dissected that, what he meant in certain respects, but then I looked at his most recent special and I said it was trash because he was doubling down on jokes and they weren't even funny at this point. Now you're just making fun of people because they told you couldn't make fun of them.
Like Andrew Schulz. There you go.
Exactly. And with that being said, listen,
All
man,
right.
it's been a good episode. We'll
Yes,
be up.
yes.
All right.
Peace.